Just want to say, had to return to Speaker's Corner this Sunday, and I have a couple of questions. First question is the scholarship that Hatun did. Hatun has done a lot of scholarship critiquing the Quran, showing that there are holes in the Quranic narrative. The media has not covered this issue. The media have only focused on the t-shirt that she wore, and they've not even, in some cases, been bothered to mention her name. And it's only been a few of the media that have bothered to report this. And then some of the mainstream have definitely left this alone. But one of them, the BBC, didn't even mention her name. Um, and they've all focused on the t-shirt that she wore, but nobody's mentioned anything about the fact that she's brought a lot of scholarship critiquing the Quran, and that the Quran has holes in its narrative. For example, um, Uthman burnt the Quran, many Qurans, and there are various verses missing um, in the Quran that were originally in the Quran but not in the Quran today. And Asakadi, a Muslim scholar, admitted this, and it caused real convulsions for the Islamic world because they had to shut him down. And then Hatun and others have taken on board what this Muslim scholar has said and developed it even more with research from J. Smith and others, and basically exposed that the Quran, in its textual criticism, cannot stand up to scrutiny. And if you notice, if you go back to me when I was down the Speaker's Corner, I continually hammered this home concerning the textual criticism of the Quran. I brought this up a few times, and it was completely ignored by the Muslim apologists. They didn't want to engage with it. And you know, if you read the Cambridge Companion to the Quran, they said that there's been no real proper scholarship on the textual criticism of the Quran. If you ask a Muslim, can you give us the manuscripts behind the Quran that you have, they don't want to say anything. But yet, when they talk about the Bible, they'll say they want to talk about our manuscripts and things. So the media has not dealt with this issue, not reported it properly, and not focused on one of the main issues of what Hatun's been trying to do, which is critique the Quran, textual criticism. There's a lot of issues. For example, I could go into a lot of detail on it, but there are verses that are missing in the original Quran, in the Quran today, that was in at the beginning. There's been a lot of editing of the Quran over the centuries, where there are manuscripts where they've changed the verses. 1 minute it's one verse, and then they've written over it and changed it. So there's been editing and changing of the Quran, and all sorts of things. I'm not going into the scholarship here, but I'm just saying that the media has ignored this issue, and the Muslims have ignored this issue. And this is one of the reasons what gets them angry, is they want to shut Hatun up because of this issue of the textual criticism of the Quran. They can't take the intellectual scrutiny of this issue. So people shouldn't just throw this under the bus and say it's just an attack on Hatun because she's being provocative. There's a lot more to it than that. There's a scholarly work that's been done by her and others on the Quran, and it's never been answered. They can't deal with it, and that's some of the reason why they're angry, as well as the fact that Hatun has had a Quran where she's put holes in it, etc. Second thing that I want to mention is the police. The police knew that there was going to be an attack, imminent attack. Counter-terrorism knew this. All the police brigades in London knew this. Local MPs knew this. But yet there was no proper police protection for Hatun. And I think also that they knew probably some of the people that were likely to attack her. So there needs to be a public inquiry as to why there wasn't enough policing in Speaker's Corner, and that the attack happened. There needs to be a public inquiry concerning the police officers who are in charge of that borough and of the park, as to why adequate policing was not provided on the day. If they knew that she was going to be attacked, they should have had plainclothes police officers around her, keeping vigilance to check to make sure that she was going to be okay. The third issue is concerning the Muslim community at Speaker's Corner. Hamza, Mansour, many other apologists, Mohammed Hijab, Ali Dawa, are all there very often at the park, and they know what's going on. They know who the people are. And the rank hypocrisy, for example, of, say, Ali Dawa, who said once to Hatun, it's on video, that he would spit in her face. These Muslim apologists making these videos about her saying, we're sorry that she's been attacked. Yet they've been very aggressive to her, not willing to debate her, not willing to engage in her. But like I said, Ali Dawa was saying that he wanted to spit in her face in one video. But the point that I want to make here is, I think it's a strong probability that many of these apologists and the Muslim community at Speaker's Corner know who the perpetrator is. If you track the eyes of the perpetrator, there is one individual that can be found who fits the match of the eye socket, and he was at Speaker's Corner a few weeks before the attack. So it's obvious that people know who he is, and it's obvious he's being protected. So the Muslim community at Speaker's Corner should do the decent thing and come forward and shot this person to the police and tell the police who it is. They know who it is. The police officers need to be interviewing, going through the footage a few weeks before, finding out the individuals that are possible candidates and be interviewing them. But the fact that this guy has not been arrested, you need to put a question mark over it. Why he's not been arrested at the moment? When the guy ran away, why didn't any Muslims chase him? Why didn't any Muslims catch him? If you watch the footage, you'll find that there's only a couple of people chased after this man. Now, you know, and I know, if from being Speaker's Corner, that if you go to Speaker's Corner, if there's a general attack on anybody, like just a general public, for no reason at all, it's not a Muslim or anything, but say two people just have a fight, everybody helps, everybody joins in to stop it. But if you notice, when Hatun was attacked, I think they knew that a number of the Muslim community there knew that an attack on that day was imminent, because if you notice, they all had moved away from her, and she was isolated virtually on her own. So I think they knew an attack was imminent, because in Speaker's Corner, when any attack happens, you generally find, if it's just a general attack with no religious connotations or anything, you generally find that the vast majority of people in the park will chase after that person and grab that person to keep them apprehended. If you notice, all the Muslims had moved away from Hatun just before the attack, and when the attack happened, they like just pretended like what like they didn't run or anything. So I think the community there knew the attack was imminent. The other thing is, there were CTC cameras, the CT cameras in the park, the CT cameras outside the park. I think it's incredulous that the police have not been able to find this man. There's CT cameras everywhere in London. So why hasn't this man been found already? Is there a political issue here that they don't want him found? I don't know, but it seems very strange to me. The cameras are everywhere in London and they can't track where this man went. And on the day they couldn't get the guy because the cameras would have been following him where he was going. The CTC cameras in Speaker's Corner then would have logged on to the ones on the London Underground, etc. And they couldn't catch the guy on the day. I mean, what was this guy? Was this guy Superman? Was this guy the Spider-Man? He's just gone off the radar. But if you look at this guy's eyes, and you look at the eyes, and you go and do some research at Speaker's Corner, there's one or two candidates that fit that eye fit. Why haven't the police caught this man then? If we've done research and we can find the perpetrator, why can't they? So those are some of the issues. The media has not dealt with the scholarly issue concerning the textual criticism of the Quran. They've left that alone because they're frightened. And the Muslim community have never dealt with the textual criticism of the Quran that Hatun has brought up. Secondly, the police were aware of an attack, yet counter-terrorism and those who were aware of attack should have been there in the park in plain clothes to make sure that she was all right to prevent an attack. Thirdly, the Muslims in the Speaker's Corner on that day, the evidence shows that they knew an attack was imminent because they were away from her, sensing something was going to happen, and they did not chase the perpetrator, sensing on that day something was going to happen. If I'm incorrect, explain to me why the Muslims had moved away from Hatun on that day. Explain to me why en masse they did not chase this perpetrator. These are facts. Whether you agree with Hatun or not, if a girl is wearing a nice skirt that's short and low-cut dress, she gets raped, did the police say, oh, she deserved it because she wore a low-cut dress or a low-cut skirt? Did the Muslims or Christians or anybody say, oh, or the media, oh, she deserved the rape? The answer is no. There's no excuse for that. So whether you agree with Hatun or not putting a hole in the Quran, wearing a Hebdo t-shirt, the media has portrayed it as if she deserved to be attacked. No, she did. Nobody deserves to be attacked. Violence is not acceptable. So the media are guilty of encouraging, not all media, Sky News Australia did a good thing and RT News did a good thing, but generally the media that mainly have ignored it, but maybe one or two like BBC have commented, they're all guilty of encouraging and inciting violence because they're almost insinuating that she deserved it. Well, does a girl deserve to be raped because she's got a low-cut dress? No. So there's a lot of issues with this situation with Hatun coming back that have not been resolved. The bottom line is, whether you agree with her or not, she has a right to free speech. Christianity has been attacked mercilessly. You Google t-shirts of Jesus in UK and you'll see horrendous t-shirts of Jesus mocking Jesus. No Christians are going out attacking anybody. Nobody's going out attacking anybody. The basic proviso within the law is that you can critique another religion. Now, you might not agree with the way that she does it. You might think it's provocative. But she did not deserve to be attacked. Now, there was some idiot on Speaker's Corner, some atheist, said he wants to get a petition and he wants to stop her, and Hatun wants to be a martyr, and critiquing and attacking Hatun. At the end of the day, that person showed no mercy or kindness or love to Hatun. Like I said, you can disagree with Hatun, but that does not give people the right to be violent. It doesn't give people the right to be violent. And the Muslim apologists saying, oh, she's provoked them. But at the end of the day, still doesn't give you the right to be violent towards her. So the person here said she brought the attack on herself. So a girl walks down the street with a short skirt. She gets raped. And what are you going to say? Oh, she brought the attack upon herself. That is madness. No, Hatun has a right to do what she's doing. Whether you agree with it or not, she has a right to do that. And to say that she brought it upon herself is to say that it's okay if someone is provocative and critique your religion, it's okay to be violent. It's okay. It's okay to be violent. And it's not okay. That is where we should be putting our statements and challenges. It's not okay to be violent against another person because they're expressing a different religious view, however provocative it may be. Look at the militant atheists, the way they were with Dawkins and Sam Harris and Hitchens, how provocative they were. You didn't see Christians or anybody going out stabbing them or attacking them. Or would you say if Hitchens would have been attacked and assassinated, oh, he brought it on himself? Or if Sam Harris would have been attacked, you would have said, oh, he brought it on himself? No. People disagreed with the harsh words they said about Christianity and the ridiculous, wicked things that they said, but they still had the right to say it. So please, the police and the judiciary and parliament and the politicians and the media, we've lost our free speech. They will come down on Hatun at some point to get rid of her. They will bring Trump up charges or do something. They'll do some way to get rid of her. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're doing with everybody at the moment. It's not just Hatun. But the fact of the matter is, Speaker's Corner is a place of free speech. And it should be defended as such. And so those who go there must protect the sanctity of freedom of speech till the very, very end. Because at some point, they will stop Speaker's Corner because it's a threat to this big agenda that we're seeing today of closing down people's free speech on big tech. So Silicon Valley and these people who are trying to stop our freedoms at the moment will see Speaker's Corner as a threat and they will want it closed down. But for those who go there and for those who believe in freedom of speech, must protect Speaker's Corner, defend that freedom there as a sacred right to be able to speak. And I pray that you will protect Hatun and allow her to have her freedom, and that if you don't agree with her, you can always ignore her and come by You don't have to stand there and be angry with her or whatever. It's a free country. But she has a right. She's a small woman. She's only small. She's not like big with muscles. She's only small. And she's no little woman. She's shaken up the Islamic world. She's shaken up the Western world. And why? Because she knows something that many of us don't know. She knows that when Islam is ruling, this will be a normality. So she's trying to avert a future crisis that will come to the West. That's what she's trying to do, whether you agree with her or not. But I think she's won the argument. I think she's won the argument hands down. I think the press, the media, the police, the politicians, Parliament, I don't think they've computed the issue. They've not engaged with the argument. So they've lost the intellectual high ground. And she's won the intellectual high ground. And all the police are doing is just thuggery. All the politicians do is thuggery. All the media doing is thuggery. It's not based on any intellectual basis. It's not based on intellectual argument and discussion. If it was based on intellectual argument and discussion, why didn't the BBC bring Hatun on to have a discussion and debate about what she did and why she was attacked? Why didn't the Fox News or why didn't or Sky News or ITV or Channel 4, why didn't they invite her on to the show and to debate her and to discuss the arguments that she was bringing and on why she did what she did? Why haven't they done that? Because there's no intellectual debate to be had. She's won the argument hands down. That's why Channel 4 never brought her on. That's why BBC never brought her on. That's why ITV never brought her on. That's why nobody will bring her. That's why nobody will debate her, and they won't debate her at Speaker's Corner. They'll just mock her and attack her and abuse her, and they won't allow her to debate. You know, how many universities have invited her since this attack and said, come, please, we want to debate you. We want to find out why you were so provocative and what were you saying and help us to understand this attack. And nobody's invited her for a debate, not from what I know. So the intellectual argument, she's won hands down. End of. Someone said, why did Jesus say, by God, why have you forsaken me? Because in Philippians chapter 2, it says, he thought it not robbery to be equal with God, but he made himself of no reputation and humbled himself, even to the death of the cross. You see, when Christ came down from heaven as the Son of God, he humbled himself, became of no reputation. All right? And you are straw man in the Christ position. You, Shemeh Hazar, whatever. You are straw man in the Christian position. Look at my video on Eastern Orthodoxy before this one, Eastern Orthodoxy, Bible study and the person of Christ. And I go into it on the doctrine of the person of Christ. You are straw man in our position, my friend. You're misrepresenting our position. So how can I answer you when you don't even understand our position? You don't understand it. Two natures, listen now, two natures in one person, two natures in one person, two natures in one person without confusion. Nicaea, Chalcedon, Westminster Confession of Faith. Two natures in one person without confusion. My wife has arrived. God bless you. I got to go.